Human rights are in the DNA of the European Union. Article 2 of the Treaty on the EU states, "The Union is founded on the values of respect for human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, the rule of law and respect for human rights, including the rights of persons belonging to minorities." This is a condition of membership for all countries who wish to belong to the European Union. All EU member states are required to protect and promote human rights, and therefore advancing human rights and democracy is a pillar of the EU's foreign policy. It is set down and elaborated in the EU Action Plan on Human Rights and Democracy 2020 to 2024, which was unanimously adopted by all 27 EU member states. The Action Plan steps up our work on long-standing priorities on human rights and democracy, such as the eradication of torture and the abolition of the death penalty. But there are also new elements, such as strengthening the link between human rights and the environment, the challenges and opportunities of digital technologies, and a greater focus on business and human rights, and much more. The EU delegations and member states' embassies in over 140 countries around the world give life to this action plan every day. They protect human rights defenders, observe trials and elections, fund projects, for instance, to advance women's and girls' rights, and support civil society. The European Union has established regular human rights dialogues with more than 60 countries or regional groupings. Last year, we launched a new dialogue with Saudi Arabia. These dialogues allow us to have frank, detailed discussions on the human rights situation in each country and within the European Union. Through the EU Human Rights Defenders mechanism called protectdefenders.eu, the EU has supported nearly 53,000 human rights defenders who are at risk and their families since 2015. Since 2000, the EU has deployed over 160 election observation missions in more than 60 countries. We also use our trade agreements and our schemes of trade preferences to encourage compliance with key human rights and labour rights conventions. We invest in human rights education. We fund the Global Campus in Venice, which brings together a network of 100 universities throughout the world. At the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva and at the General Assembly in New York, we lead on country-specific and thematic resolutions. The EU has taken the lead on the most pressing human rights situations such as in Belarus, Ethiopia, Myanmar, Mali and Afghanistan. The EU is a staunch supporter of the United Nations. Last year, we commenced a formal strategic dialogue with the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, which I had the honour of co-chairing along with High Commissioner Bachelet. We back up all this diplomatic engagement with finance. The Global Europe Human Rights and Democracy Programme is worth €1.5 billion. It funds EU support in promoting and protecting human rights and fundamental freedoms, democracy and the rule of law, the work of civil society organisations and human rights defenders around the world up to 2027. In December 2020, the EU launched the Global Human Rights Sanctions Regime, which is designed to target individuals, entities and bodies responsible for, involved in or associated with serious human rights violations and abuses worldwide, no matter where they have occurred. Since the launch of this regime, the EU has adopted restrictive measures targeting persons and entities from China, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Libya, South Sudan, Eritrea, Belarus and Russia. Fighting for human rights and democracy is more important and urgent than ever. Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine has resulted in widespread violations of international human rights and international humanitarian law. Justice is essential for the realisation of human rights. There can be no impunity for the war crimes committed by Russia in Ukraine or by anyone else anywhere in the world. The EU has already taken numerous measures to ensure accountability. We are assisting in documenting war crimes committed by Russia and offering our full support to the international authorities, including the International Criminal Court. At the UN level, we are mobilising support to put pressure on Russia to end this illegal aggression while tackling the impacts of this brutal war, including on food security across the world. No continent on earth is free from human rights abuse and violation. By advancing dialogues with governments, supporting defenders and using multilateral engagements, we are making progress. The continued global health crisis and the many conflicts on every continent have shown us what is at stake, human dignity itself. and the EU stands united to uphold the indivisibility and interdependence of human rights and democratic values, because human rights belong to people, everywhere and at all times.